We can't see you though. We can't
Yeah.
see you though.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on. We freaking back,
I
man.
got you. I got you. I got you.
Where the claps at? Where the claps?
There you go. I clap. I did it.
I don't hear shit, man. What
You
happened to
ain't
the
hear it.
clap? The Anti-Network podcast 11, I believe, or 12. We're gonna figure out which number it is, man. New Year's edition. Brother COMARK in the building, aka DR.COMARK in the building.
What's up, Anti-Network? This is Marco Harrington, author of Soul Ties. Make sure you pick up the book from Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
And we got a special guest today. Y'all tell it by the resemblance. Let me get the zoom up. Y'all see the zoom up. Y'all see who that look like? Who that look like? Who that look like? Who that look like? Dr. COMARK Jr., aka Brother D in the building, man. How y'all fellas doing today?
I'm good.
That's what we love to hear. That's what we love to hear. So today, excuse me, I'm trying to move things around over here. Today is a special day. Brother COMARK said, hey, we podcasting today, and this is what we doing. The importance on fatherhood. You want to start the new year right by letting the people know how important it is to have a father, and what's more special than having a father and son on this episode. So through the video, you might see different clips of some fatherism, some fatherhoodism, as we just made this word the last video like 2 minutes in. Fatherhoodism, you know what I'm saying? And we finna show the world, you know, what fathers look like in good action, man. We got to put love out here for the fathers. Brother, Dr. COMARK, man. First up on the panel, man, you got to tell the people what brought us today to this topic to say, hey, man, we got to get love to the dad today, man.
Yeah, like I tried to say in the what we probably gonna do in short takes, like we call them, beat clips or whatever. What brought us here was we was trying to do a clip before the New Year's last week. With our vets is trying to help them see how hard it is to try to get your kids with you when you moving all across the world as veterans. It's a hard deal to take your kids with you or even get custody of them. That didn't happen. We scratched it. Didn't happen. So today, as you see, my son is on the clip.
We see him.
We're trying to talk about fatherhood. Maybe even talk about how hard it is to move through fatherhood day by day and what it is to be a father. Period. We're not even gonna say a good father, but how difficult it is and what it takes to be a father. Period. So just to be on here today, I brought my son. He's gonna talk about of me being a father. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it all. Bring it all to me. With a grain of salt. Wounds in the my heart or whatever you want to bring it all. I'm here to listen and here to take it all in too. But starting off the New Year's, Happy New Year's to everybody here from the Anti-Network. We're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So the first thing I would love to talk about is the dynamic when it comes to father and son. So I'm gonna start with Brother D. Brother D, how old you is? Your mommy asking.
I'm 22.
22 years old. So 22 years old, being that you are of a sperm creation from Dr. COMARK, at your age as a man, because you're technically a man by 18, how do you feel about your father, if you don't mind to speak?
I mean, I love my dad. I think my dad has given me a lot of like good like learning points and wisdom over the years, especially like recently. And I mean, I feel like our bond is kind of grown closer as I had, especially since I had joined the military and just trying to spend as much time as I can when I can. So, I mean, I wouldn't. I know I wouldn't ask for a different father. Um, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's good to me.
I like that answer, man. I like that answer. By the way, thank you for your service, young brother, man. You know what I'm saying? My brother on the front line. So if y'all see him, man, send him what they call them care packages called when you go to Iraq. The angel, what's it called? An angel care package or some shit?
They got all different columns.
I forgot what it's called,
Yeah.
but it's a package you get when you go overseas. People will send them for you. But man, we gotta send my brother something. Appreciate your services. Definitely appreciate your services. So I would like to ask you this: as amongst your friends, do you know how many of your friends have their father around?
Um, Currently, no. I've never really like talked about it. I mean, I remember going through high school. A couple of them like had their fathers, and then some of them didn't. But it was never really like talked about much amongst us.
So, better question: what do you think is the importance of a father being in his son's life?
Um, for me, I think like a father plays a completely different role than a mother because I feel like a father like teaches you that discipline and gives you that hard love that a mom won't really give you. And it's kind of just like they they give you a different level of kind of like integrity and just how you carry yourself as a person growing up. I think it's just two different sides of the spectrum, and I feel like it benefits both, of course, to have both parents. But I think a father kind of teaches you like how to kind of like stay out of the way and just keep your head down and like be a better person.
I like that response. Dr. Comar, that came from Junior right there, man. Based on everything what he said in his response, man, how do you feel about your son at his current state, knowing he giving you your flowers and recognizing that it was very beneficial and important to have his father in the picture?
Well, I think it's a good thing. I mean, to hear it now, seeing that uh, most of his life I was overseas, back and forth, and that I was in the military, and that I wasn't always there when he probably needed me the most. And he was, in elementary and high school and middle school, and that I wasn't always at his football games or basketball games. Even though I probably taught him how to throw his football. He got his speed from me. You
Okay,
know,
okay,
I
okay,
didn't. He got that 4.3 speed from me. He probably got it from his mama too because she ran track.
okay, okay.
Also, but to hear that, that a father do give a lot of that discipline and integrity, which you instill into your kids, is a good thing that hear, because most people don't hear that, and that you miss that dynamic of having a father in your life. And we're not to take away from a mother's perspective, but most people don't have both parents in the household, and we wouldn't. I wasn't there. Me and his mother wasn't in the household. I was mostly overseas, and we split up early in the life. And so it's good to hear that he still had that um, mother father aspect in his life. You know, even while I was back and forth overseas.
Hey man, but you're still around. And based on what he said,
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like man, y'all picked up the slack and got the train tracking. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a beautiful thing. So I like to ask both of y'all this question when it comes to what you guys view as fatherhood from your own personal experience. Rather, of course, you're not a father yet, brother D, but
Hmm.
you are a son of one, and you've been in an environment where you've seen fathers America. I'm pretty sure more than one occasion, especially when it comes to our complexion for the neglection. So when we talk about black people, especially when it comes to
Hmm.
fatherhood, what do you think is the biggest problem while we have the highest percentage in single parent households while fathers are not around? Brother D, in your opinion, I'd like to start with you.
Um, to me, I think the biggest problem that I've seen would honestly have to be and I don't necessarily think it's from like a parent's perspective. I think it's more so like your kids not having both sides of the spectrum and not having like the guidance that they need because um at least from what I've seen, like most of the like single parent households that I've seen have like been single mothers and kind of holding like a grudge or something against the father, and
Mm,
some of those situations will be like the father does want to be in their life, but the mother kind of keeps them out, or just the dad doesn't want to be involved at all. And I think in those households, it kind of goes one or two ways. Like the kid either like tries to like prove his, I guess, prove his dad wrong, or they just kind of get off track and their life kind of just goes downhill, and their whatever parent that they have, I guess that in this instance, the mother, they can't really keep them on track, and the dad isn't there to, like I said, instill that discipline and like integrity.
I got one quick question.
Mhm.
What age did you realize this when you seen? Let's start with the fact when you said that some women, not all women, but
Mhm.
some women, when it comes to mothers, are bitter or have bad attitudes to the kid's father. I'm just curious, when you start noticing this, growing up in Texas, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
So, grew up in Texas. When do you realize part of the problem? Because you said multitudes, but I want to give one critical
Yeah.
one. What age did you realize that, hey, it seemed like your mom is just kind of
Mhm.
showing your dad off because she got some scorn or some other issues she don't want you to be around. What age did you pick that up on? If you don't mind me asking.
I guess for me, like I kind of experienced some of it at a young age, probably going through, I want to say like elementary school time, because there have been times like I, as a kid, and with me being the oldest, I feel like my perspective is different than my brothers, and so like trying to be a role model for them, but also like trying to like somewhat like follow like what my parents want me to do. Um, I saw it at a young age because there were times like I wanted to like be with my dad, and he wasn't here, and I feel like around that time my mom wasn't really like, she didn't really like my dad or anything like that, and so I kind of just saw it at that age.
Mm. So to dance around that a little bit, I
Hmm.
understand you've seen it through your own life and perspectives you went through in your household.
Yeah.
When it comes to elementary, middle, high school, friends,
Hmm.
family, cousins, how often do you see this type of behavior?
Um, I actually saw it, I guess, quite often, at least going through high school, because I did have like a lot of buddies, especially guys that I played football with who didn't really have both parents. And so that's kind of when you've seen it, and or at least when I seen it with those guys like trying to do whatever they can to like stay on the right path because their father is not around.
Mm. I like that. Now I want to say something real quick, and for the people who are listening, I want this to be heard clear and concise. Reason why I ask them these
Hmm.
questions because I wanted to hear from a different perspective from a child. So excuse me, from a child who turned into a man. So no, this is not to slander women, single mothers, but I think it's important where kids who grow to men, even to women, could share their experience on how they view things. Because a lot of times we discount the children experience based off the parent, i.e., the mother or the father, just know so much better. Where the
Hmm.
children points, excuse me, the voice doesn't matter. And I think it's very critical. We need to hear the children's voice, as in Dr. Comar's son, Brother D. And that's why, blah, blah, blah. That's why I asked for that answer because, again, when you can see it through your own life and you can see it through your friends and family, I think that makes it more of a conversation like, hey, so what's going on? Dr. Komar, and the light just died. I'm sorry for that. Dr. Komar, I want to take it to you and follow on the same thing. Hearing your son saying these things that came from his household growing up, especially when you and his mom's didn't work out, and now he's letting you know or explaining things in the household that held prevention. from him being around you, maybe from scoring love or whatever situation may be. How do you feel about that? Just hearing that from your son at the age. Wait, but before you finish that, somebody got a background going on? Like
I don't think so.
Somebody picking up a lot of audio like in the back, like it's a TV or something.
Oh, it's probably. Hold on. It's probably me. Hold on. Let me see if I can mute this real quick.
Let me timestamp this. Minutes. All right. Whenever you ready, brother.
Yeah, it's the kids upstairs. So,
Would you like me to bring the question back in, or you good?
Nah, you good.
All right, then. Just take 2 seconds, pause, and then we good. So I can just cut it where you start.
All right. So for me, it's heartbreaking, but then again, I mean, like it's eye opening because like I said, there's a lot of people going through it. I didn't see it in my household growing up as a kid, but I fought through it, and we went back and forth for a long time, and I did it too again with my baby mama with my oldest daughter too. Um, and a lot of parents, a lot of kids go through it and still go through it through the day. It's not a thing that's not going to continue to happen. But me and his mom is on good terms now, and we talk a lot. For their sake now, going through like the two younger kids, his brothers, are in college, and we talk a lot. But from his standpoint, knowing that he saw it, and I don't think it was a time. I think when he remembered, I don't know if he remembered it when we actually split up. When he actually asked me, could he come stay with me? And at the time, I wish I could have, took him with me, but I knew I was getting ready to go to Iraq. And I felt like as a father that I failed him at the time and I still feel like I failed him because I knew I couldn't take him with me because I knew I was getting ready to go to Iraq and I went 2 tours back to back. So um, it was heartbreaking to me knowing that I would probably go through it over and over because I knew a lot of my friends who was going through it. And so it just kind of hurt to see it over and over and to see that my middle son went through it and then his younger brother went through it, and every time that I would ask or try to go get them, that I would see it over and over, and it hurt me a lot, but I knew that at some point in time that they would see that me as a father, um, I would continue to push through it and get to this point where like me and him talk mostly on a daily basis, um,
Yeah.
so that we that bond will probably get stronger. So it fazed me at the time, but now I think they see it more and more.
Everything that your father just said as of now,
Hmm.
when it comes to his outlook on him being a better father for you possibly in the future, what do you take from that?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. Like, yeah, me and my dad have definitely been like growing closer and just having a bond for sure. Um, I think even I think even as time goes on, like it it will just constantly grow. Because I mean, we have a lot more things in common than I realized at a younger age. And so I think for me it'll come easier because I in some ways kind of like took after my dad without like realizing what kind of path that I was on. And so
Right.
I think moving forward, I think the biggest thing for me would be to get my siblings, my brothers to kind of see the same thing and just try to like have them put in the effort to find something in common and just go from there.
Let's talk about either the good or the evil. A government
Mm.
entity, child support.
But let me tell you a fucking story here.
Oh, child support. So I think child support is interesting and related to this.
This guy was making in excess of $140,000 a year. The economy goes for shit. Oil and gas goes through the toilet. Buddy loses his job. Company shuts down. Does what he's got to do. Takes a job at $60,000. Well, that shit ain't good enough for the rig pig that he hooked up with. 2 kids. She buggers off. Goes to court. I want child support. Your Honor, last year he made $140,000. That is what his child support is based on. He can't afford that. Nobody can. Because he went from $140,000 to $60,000.
Now, brother Komar, me and you talked off the record, on the record, through the record, between the record, on all these ups and downs when it comes to the system.
He's got some decisions to make. Make his truck payment, his insurance payment, his house payment, whatever other payments he's got to make. First one he stops is his insurance payment. Driving with no insurance. Risk it. The second thing, he loses his place to live. Now the guy's living in his truck. Now he's behind on his truck payments. All his toys are gone. His woman's gone. She's got the kids. And he's got this financial obligation that he can't pay. Child maintenance now seizes his driver's license. Now he can't drive. Can't work because he can't drive. Can't drive because he's got no insurance. And he's got no license. Then he loses his truck. Now, I kept in contact with this guy because he was a really decent guy. A couple of weeks after I lost contact with him, I found out he killed himself because he couldn't survive. He couldn't survive financially. He couldn't survive mentally. Now, the economy, yep, shit happens. But he went and got a job, making less money. He could have gone to court and got his child support reduced. He couldn't afford to go. He's dead. Gone. Now, you want to know how child support can ruin a man's life? Think about that story.
Do you think that this also plays a part when it comes to fatherhood on the system? And I ask that because a lot of different men, me and you from Texas, I'm from Wisconsin, we have our opinions and our reasonings on the goods and the bad when it comes to court. So for you in your life, based off what you said and based off what you live, do you think that this affects fatherhoodism? We coining that fatherhoodism when it comes to being a good or a bad father.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because I believe that, um, as we say, like you make a certain amount of money to sustain yourself per se, and in this type of economy, depending on how much you make, a mother gets, let's say 20% per child, 18%, 16% as you keep going,
Mm-hmm.
and they have no factor of when they can go back and take whatever, as long as you keep growing and growing. And I don't believe this is child support. I honestly believe this is mother support, because we all know this is not going to the mother. And as you're as you're trying to
You
support
meant to say,
yourself,
not to cut you off, you meant to say it's not going to the child, correct?
it's not going to the child. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
just
It's
wanted
not
to
going
catch
to
you
the
before you
child.
go too
It's
far,
going
but I
to,
got you.
yeah, my bad. It's
It's
not
all
going to the
good.
child. We know it's going to the mother. So every time that you up yourself as a to get better, they up their self to get better. And you you can do everything financially to make yourself better. But if you go to the court, you can spend all your money to go to the court and say, "Hey, let me get my child." I can provide for my child better than she can. All she has to do is say, I'm trying, and you'll never get your child. And the system isn't there to work for you, it's there to work against you. And I'm
Mm,
sorry to say that for any person who's trying to fight for their child. It might work. I mean, you gotta spend a lot of money, in which, I've went through that system to try to. Um and you might get your child, and you get your child and more success to you. But the hate comes from you trying to successfully get your child and try to say that, hey, I'm doing the best that I can. And even with that, a lot of men give up, and a lot of women, I'm going to say that too, give up when you're constantly fighting to say, I'm doing the best that I can. Even when I'm on record saying that I go to the visitations, they're just not enough. I only get to see my child 2 days a week, every other weekend. Can I get more? And it just won't happen. And even sometimes when you're want to see them more, and they find a way to say he's not doing enough, he's not doing this, and they fight the system and fight against the system still fight against you. And some people get tired, and it's not a good thing to go with the system or get against the system, and you get tired. So it drives men crazy, it drives women crazy, and you give up. And that pushes people apart and pushes men to say, I'm done. And that's not fair on the child, because sometimes those men will say, well, you know what? I did want to love you. I did want to be the father that I wanted to be. But then again, your mother pushed me away. And not to bash women again, but the government has drove me broke. Your mother has driven me broke, and I'm giving up because I just can't do enough. And it's driving my mental, because I'm going to play it on a mental and my physical health, to say, hey, son or daughter, I just can't do it anymore. I'm just going to focus on me, so that maybe later on I can focus on you, because I won't be here any longer if I have to go through this. And that's my take on it.
mm. That's really heartfelt right there. And I'm glad you put emphasis on we're not attacking women. We just get some things clear. So I have to double down behind that. When we talk about
Agreed.
child support, just based on the conversation, I know it seems as of now one sided, but let's keep in mind something. For one, we know it's deadbeat dudes out here.
Yes.
We're not knocking that. Nobody's knocking that. They're deadbeat men. There are fathers who don't want to be fathers. So for them who have to go on child support from no other way, ladies, we understand. This topic of discussion is for the fathers who want to be fathers.
Fathers. Right. And let us say this, because there is a podcast out there this full of women who did podcasts about motherhood and child support. And the attack was not attack, but their take on it was about men, and how men are deadbeats. So it wasn't an attack on all men, but the deadbeat men. So we're just doing the opposite.
Just so we got that clarity. Brother D, from everything you heard from your father, giving his opinion about child support and the things you go to court, just hearing that, is anything that your father said when it comes to emotion, you could be like, man, I didn't know that, or I didn't know that it could be so strange. I know I'm about to do a lot of editing.
Strenuous.
Yes, there we go. Strenuous on the brother
Mhm.
when it comes to being a father. What's your take on what your father was saying in that regard?
I mean, as I got older, I kind of like understood it more, especially seeing it be a lot more common with my generation. And so I definitely agree with what my dad said, and I feel like there's no like fair way for a father to really like win in that situation unless it's just really bad for the child. I think that's really the only way that it goes the father's way. And especially with a trying father, because I've seen like there be times where the father has been trying for so long, and eventually they just stop trying and they just move on with their life, and just when the child reaches 18, they just let it be that and don't really try to be in that child's life because of how those years beforehand have gone. And so it's kind of just like I myself have thought about like what other ways could there be where child support isn't so like anti-father. Maybe there'd be like a way where the money goes directly to the kid for necessities for the kid instead of it just being money per se. Maybe like how they do like I guess EBT cards, maybe like a child support card or something that allows you to only buy like the essentials for the kid. Um, so it's kind of just like I didn't understand that it was so much at a young age because I didn't know any better, of course, but as I got older, I kind of understood it more, and I didn't really like hold that against my dad because I know like just I feel like the system itself isn't always, and most of the time isn't always on our side. Not even just fathers, but like black fathers especially.
That's a fact. That is a fact. Just to clear some things for people who are watching about child support. Child support is in place for the child's best interest. So when we talking
Mhm.
about lights, water, food, regardless if she was buying it before a child, that is considered child support. The big problem when it comes to child support is realizing that you are getting income, you have income, and the kid still goes without. I think that every man has that the biggest problem with that. We know a lot of times child support, not in all cases, let me say that again, not in all
Mm-hmm.
cases, it's for women do wrong. We're not saying that. But for those who do get child support and does not uphold the child best interest when it comes to these payments, knowing they lacking and knowing that you could provide these things, I think that's where a lot of men have a problem with child support. Because honestly, I put myself on child support twice. So child support is not the problem that scares me. It's what are you going to do with the money? And then on top of that, which is the most scary part, as Brother Comar covered, was custody. I think custody, when it comes to a lot of men, that's where it comes really unfair. Now, money and wages, that's self-explanatory almost in every 50 states.
Mhm.
20, 18, 16%, as Brother Comar said. But custody is a different topic. Just want to clear that up, though. Want to clear that up. Another part of this, which I call it the fourth quarter. Let's start with Brother D. Now, you're 22 years old. You don't have any
Mhm.
kids. From what you witnessed in your lifetime, if you were to have kids, if you were to have kids,
Mhm.
what steps do you feel you would do to ensure that you will have a high success rate of fatherhoodism or being a father for some?
And also, marry someone you think would be a good mother and that has enough sense, generally speaking, to know that she wants children. Now, some women don't want children, and fair enough. And some women perhaps shouldn't have children. That's also possible. But the general rule of thumb is, especially once a woman's, in her mid 20s, if she doesn't know that she wants children or won't admit it, unless she has a viciously important reason, then she's not oriented properly psychologically. She isn't. She doesn't know what's important in life. Now that might also be the case with you, and it probably is. But as a rule of thumb, that's a really good one.
Uh, I think for me, the biggest thing would be knowing that I guess the woman that I choose won't try to use like the money that I put in my pocket or just how I carry myself and try to like downplay how I carry myself as I start a family, and kind of just take bits and pieces from like my dad and just everybody else that I know that have kids, and just make sure that I'm putting myself in a situation where I don't pretty much go through those same things, because like my dad said, being military, it makes it a bit harder, especially if you travel. Like I
Mm-hmm.
travel a lot more than my dad because I'm in a flying career in the Air Force. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly always on the road. And so some people will see that as a way like um, he doesn't really want to be in that child's life, but that's false. It's more so just that's what my job is centered around. Like I can't. It's not like um, a civilian job where I can take time off. Um, I mean, I can get time off in the military as well, but um, it's not like I can just up and quit and find a different job that is centered more around allowing me to have more time with the kids that I have or anything like that. And so, um, yeah, I mean, it's ultimately just making sure I put myself in a situation where I don't have to worry about like possibly being put on child support, um, and having to worry about like fighting for custody of my kids.
Mm. Well said. Dr. Comark, we got it. We need that prognosis, brother. We need to know if you had to start all over again, for all you know today. I know you love your kids, so we ain't trying to erase them. But if you have to start over today with all you know today, what will be the best steps, or let's use better words? What will be the best advice you will give yourself from the future to the past on how you'll go about bringing children in this world to increase fatherhood is?
D, you better not quit. Let's put it out there. um, First off, I'm gonna say no. No fault out to um my ex-wife, his mama. She's a loving female, and I know she was my first love. I'd go find Miss Smith first off. You know what I'm saying. Um, I love my ex-wife too. Nah, but financial stability will be the first. I know I got college degrees and things of that nature, but I would have to say I have to financially get myself together. I have to, there's no book about how to raise a child. Every child is different. Every situation is different. The economy is constantly changing year by year. Um, so to know that you are financially stable, know that you have um, the money in your savings account. We're not even gonna say bank account, but the money in your savings account for emergencies like your house flooding, your lights going out, a wreck, life insurance, burial insurance, things of that nature. You have to have those things set in place so that you know that if anything happens to you or one of your loved ones in your household, that you are financially stable. Um, things of that nature. Money in the bank. You know, what I don't even remember his name from G Unit who said it. Um,
Lloyd
you
Banks?
gotta have.
Lloyd Banks?
Was it Floyd Banks? Yeah, Lloyd Banks. Yeah, he had that. You gotta have that educational awareness about what's going on around you, medically wise, financially wise. You have to have that. You gotta have a support system too. You got to have friends and family around you just in case if something happened to you, that they'll be able to take care of you, your family, your dogs, whatever the case may be. That if that you have that around you, just in case in place is the best place to even start around you. You have to be stable enough to take care of kids because kids are $1 million investments. Y'all don't understand exactly what that means, but every child is $1 million, every single one, and I got a lot of them, so I understand. Um,
You
don't
do.
shake your head. Don't shake your head, bro. But I look at him. He's smiling. He the first one. He the first one. But I got a lot of them. So it's just things of that nature that you have to understand that and even getting your health up, man, because health is wealth, and your kids got to be healthy,
Healthy as well.
and and to have a mental stability, man, because we all go through trauma, and we all have to understand that our trauma falls in on our children as well. So we have to understand that we have to be stable too, to have our children stable to go through what we're going through. So if we're going through something that's unstabilizing us, we can't push that down on our children. So that's another thing that you we have to understand.
If I can go back and give advice, even myself, I think that I will freeze my sperm. I think I will freeze my
Keith.
sperm and wait for some clones or something. Somebody I got like 100% control over, And I'm being serious. And I mean, say why I say this, in my opinion. When it comes to fatherhood, we can't predict how things are going to go if relationships fail. We can't. And it's every woman to blame for situations that go bad. Of course not. And I have to keep putting emphasis on this because sometimes when people look at these clips or hear these stories, they hear some selected words and then they just go off into la la land and run with not listening to the full context. I think it's important on a lot of avenues, like these brothers are saying. You want to be financially stable. You want to be mentally grounded. You want to have everything in place to bring children in this lifetime. And when it comes to, at least in the West, if we going off traditions and morals and values, if marriage was the key before you bring family in for those who are religious, then I will hope the woman you marry, whether you Christian, Muslim, whatever the doctrine you follow, that's going to be your savior at the end of the day. I hope that that person have the highest degree of understanding to what they're bound to do. Because now today, I feel like we're a religious country, but not a lot of people practice what they preach, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm.
So, in my opinion, in my opinion, it's a lot of things that we can go over, that we can talk about, that can bring a higher percentage to fatherhoodism. But most importantly, it's only right when we had this part two. You got to have women in the building. Because as men, we only talk about our griefs, our complaints amongst each other. But to get a better resolution through all the conflict, women, we need you. So for the women who see this, they'll love to join the panel and give their opinions. Please, please leave your name in the comments. We'll love to have you on here because for us to make this a better situation for the young men and the young women today in America, we got to come as one. So we got to put them pride to the side. We have to put that pride to the side. Excuse me, put it aside. In closure, you know how we do, Brother COMARK, man. We gotta start with you first, so Brother Deacon, follow suit. We gotta get the people some good game, man. Podcast 11. What you got for the people today, man?
Man, y'all know, starting off, Happy New Year's, 2024. Let's keep the peace. I know it. North Korea out here trying to North Korea. I think North Korea out here trying to start a war, and y'all know, fatherhood is difficult. It's difficult for everybody. It could be a happy thing, it could be a hard thing. Make sure you out here loving your the mother, your son, your daughter. It's an emotional challenge. It's a financial pressure. It's a life work imbalance. It's a relationship change. Just make sure that you're doing everything you possibly can to take care of yourself, take care of your family, do whatever you can for each other, one another. Make sure you're out here loving your neighbors. Make sure you taking care of everything you possibly can to do what's right for you and everybody. It's January 1st, 2024. We're not even halfway through the 20s. Just make sure you're out here doing whatever you can to get right with your life. Happy New Year's, happy life. Not that happy life, because we all know it goes both ways. Just love yourself. Make sure
Tell
you
him,
love
brother.
yourself.
Tell him. I have to shout that in there. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. Brother D.
That's all.
Brother D. What you got for the good people of 2024, brother? Give them some good game.
Um, so I'm gonna take a different path. One of the big things that I think everybody should take, especially from a financial standpoint, one of the things that I'm taking from 2023 that I'll definitely like be big on going into 2024 is if I can't buy two of something, then I don't I can't afford it. And
Wait. Press rewind. Hey, yo, you got to run that back. Yeah, y'all hear him? I hope y'all, bro. They might have been deaf in the back, bro. One more time, bro. Tell them one more time, bro, what we doing.
if I can't buy two of something, then I can't afford it. And
Mm.
that that has definitely been like one of the big lessons that I've learned. Fatherhood aside, like going into this year, because I mean this year alone was kind of rough for me. So if I can't afford it twice, then I can't afford it once. And so I think going into that going into this year, it's definitely going to play a big part. I think for everybody, choose to do with it as you will, but I hope everybody has a good 2024 and just starting this year off right and just being consistent with everything that you do.
Man, I had to rewind that back because my brother is 22 years old, and we don't got a lot of brothers our age, even in our 30s, let alone our 20s. It's sad for even the guys who 40 who ain't gonna understand what that young brother said. That's why we had to rewind that back. That was deep. I think that was probably the best game I heard on the podcast as of yet. Financial literacy is very important. It's very important. And if you don't know, now you know. You feel me? We gotta get that understood, especially for the sisters and brothers of our color, because we be messing up some loose money. When you get them taxes now, when you get them taxes,
Yeah.
don't fuck it up, yo. If you can make a
Yeah.
plan, add to a thrift savings plan, find out know about CDs, stocks, crypto shaky. So I don't want to say put your coin in that, but it's a lot of things we can do to gain financial literacy for the better. And that's all I'm gonna piggyback behind Brother D, because that was well said, man. Read some books if you don't know. Alex J. Axelrod, How Monopoly Can Make You a Millionaire. Really good book. Shoe Dogs, Phil Knight. Really good book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert K. Kiyosaki. Really good book. Robert Greene, even though he speaks of all aspects of life. 50 Laws of Power, The Laws of Human Nature. These are good books to grow the brain. And that's all I have to leave y'all for my advice on that. Episode 11 is the Anti Network from Father D to Younger D. We out, baby. Allegedly. I said it before. DR.COMARK, I kind of want to stop all the questions with Brother Love for a second, man. As far as everything that you didn't heard and took far in the articles that was sent to you, what is your take on this situation? Let me give you a quick rundown. There's a clip missing to the beginning of this segment. My freaking computer, it didn't save it. So pretty much all you missing from this is how we end up here with Brother Love, and he's taped the introduction on how he needs help getting his kids back. Now fill in the blanks.
So I know that the Japanese culture, Chinese culture always have like their strictest laws, even when it comes down to like birth and things of that nature. So it wouldn't surprise me that how their custody laws are, and it's, as we would say, absurd.
Right.
How they treat
Asinine.
asinine. I know that over here in the West, it's it's the same thing, not the exact same thing, but almost similar how they treat us too, but just not as strict. So the fact that they're trying to change things, I think is a step, but also I think is still crazy that when you get divorced, that the custodial parent has like 100% of all rights, and you can have any rights, any say so, unless there's a domestic violence, partake, in the in the rights or any like in a child's life.
Right.
So that it's just I don't think it's fair for any child to not have both parents in their life, and for one parent to have all say so in a child's life.
I would agree with that. So, Brother Love, just wanted to get the doctor quick synopsis on that. For the viewers who will see this, because a lot of people want to know when situations like this happen, do you have any understanding that what led you to this situation? Like, is it any
Oh,
inclination that you've seen or heard to where it's like, okay, one minute I'm a father, next minute I'm not? Did you spaz where they had a military episode? I personally don't know. That's why we asking because
okay.
when people see these things, we hear like, okay, we're hearing your side of it, and
Right.
of course we want to hear your side because you're the father who's not with his children.
Right.
But we want to know as far as from the viewer, was there anything that took place that led up to this incident that removed you from your rights of being a father?
Yes.
So let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
it.
it. Let's talk
You
about
know,
it.
and this is the thing. I know we talked about this offline. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna start it off. All of these incidences happen primarily because you know, and I think back now because I'm older now that at that time I really didn't know myself for real, and I really didn't know what a father, or I can say what a man. Not to say that I know exactly what a man is now, but I know a lot more now than I did then. So that's all I can say. I'm not going to really break it down in a 5 paragraph order, which I've done before. You know what I mean? You know what that is. All the Marines out there know what that is, and I'm just going to make it sweet, short, and as my art teacher would say from Duke Ellington, Mr. Harris, keep it simple, stupid. Kiss. You know what I'm saying? Kiss it. That's all I can do.
Yeah,
I
boy.
kiss.
Well, give the people a quick rundown, man.
I'm kissing the game goodbye. Okay. Okay.
Well, just give them a quick rundown, man. We don't need the whole blue book, but we just want to know some key things. And I'll just start off with these questions, then you can fill in anything after.
Okay.
Was it any type of form of abuse that was to your wife or to your children?
Oh, what you mean about did I inflict it?
Yeah, that's my question.
Oh no, not at all. No. I mean, but
It,
you know what? I
I,
will say that this is what I will add. This is what I will add because I'm not trying to play like I was like I was walking on water. I mean, when I was in Japan, I mean, I did have a few other women outside of my marriage, but that can be another deep conversation as well too. But like I said, I wasn't really where I needed to be as a father or as a family man. So that's all I can say at this point. But if you can get anything from that, you probably got to
Yeah.
meditate
well,
on it.
well, I want to follow with Dr. COMARK. I know he got some things he want to say, but I'm gonna tell you why I asked some other questions. I asked a question about abuse when it comes to a wife or a
Okay.
child because usually that's number one that will take you away from your children. That's number one.
Okay. Okay.
You being you using
Okay. You
infidelity,
know
not
what?
using infidelity. You caused infidelity. No,
Oh,
go ahead. Go ahead.
no. You know what? But at that time, my temperament at that time could have been, no, was. I'm not saying could have been. Could have not could have been. It was. But my temperament at that time, and I can look back, was. And if I was speaking to her, it could have, it is, and it was, uh, maybe verbally abusive at that time. Yes, I was probably that, and and I say, and I believe I spoke to my ex-wife, and I told her, and I talked to her, and I apologized and asked her to forgive me for a lot of things that I did, but you know, that's all I can do.
So, not to go down a rabbit hole in this,
Okay.
when you said verbal abuse, Was there any threats made to make them worry about the safety of you guys' children?
Oh no, not at all. No.
And again, I only ask these things because we want to know if anything took place that can warrant a woman to remove you permanently outside of being the father. So I think that's very important. Because again, we only hearing your side of the story, which we love to hear, but people are always going to make the assumptions to why or what if. So to hear it come from your mouth and that's your words, we're going to take it at face value. And because you're not the only person who was a living non-monogamous, was supposed to be monogamous,
Oh
and they
yeah.
cheated. You ain't
You're
the
right.
first, you ain't going to be the last, but we don't agree that we should remove you from fatherhood.
What's up, Anti Network? This is Marco Harrington, author of Soul Ties. Make sure you pick up the book from Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
As we've been interrupted once again, I was asking Brother Comar, Dr. Comar, about the follow up to where we at today. Now, Dr. Comar, as I said in the previous video from these computer issues,
Yeah.
as far as where we at, everything that took place from what you heard, I'm pretty sure you got some questions, so we'll love to hear them or anything or advice that you can share. We'll love to hear.
Well, no, he said that he was still growing as a father, which is everybody. Everybody is always growing, which I like to hear. I like to say, because I'm still growing as a father. I know X is still growing as a father.
For
But
sure.
he said one thing that hit me. As a father, his temperament. You know, we you said that, and your temperament. You said it towards your wife, or even like you as a father. That also could be one form as abuses. We don't see it for ourselves, but in the courtroom could be one form is abuse. And I'm not saying that you use it as a form of abuse, but as a woman, they could look at it as we raise our voice. Your kids hear it. The court will be like, did you raise your voice? What did you say at that time? Was you an angry person? Were you drinking at the time? And you neglecting your wife because she was going around, with other women. That could be a form of like neglect. I'm not trying to bash or anything like that, but that's one thing that we all as men could look at and the court will look at as a form of like neglect towards your family could be used, and not saying that they did, but every father and every person around the globe could take your story and say, hey, this man is speaking words into my life and into me, and it could use that as a like, this man is speaking words, and let me not do this, or let me use these words and say, hey, he's telling me something that we all should use, and we should all say, to make ourselves different, because we all as fathers can grow on from a different type of temperament, myself included, X and self included, because we all have mood, or we all can say, as you were saying this morning, sometimes we always say, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I just want to be left alone. That could be used as a temperament because they're like, well, he doesn't want to use his feelings. He doesn't want to say anything. That could be one thing too. So we're all growing. Everybody's growing different days, different times, during the day. So, that's just my take on it. And that's all I have to say.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Comar. And if I say something wrong, Brother Love, please correct me. This goes back as far as 2014. That's when he was
Yeah.
divorced. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
2023. Now, neglect when it comes to your family and the marriage, I can see that at that time. You also may mention, Dr. Comar, that we all somewhat have temperaments in different parts of our lives. Some can work and get better than others. Should a man be punished almost almost 10 years, almost 10 years, to where he can't be an active father for something in the past? Should that be
No,
held against him?
no, because as we say, like me and you talk all the time, our health get better, right? We
Mm-hmm.
grow mentally different ways. We grow to be better. So we could always get better in our physical attributes and our mental attributes. We can always say, hey, I'm doing better in life. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 3 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. And we can go back and say, hey, look at me. I'm different than I was when I came to court 10 years ago. Can you change this to help me see my kids? Because I'm not the same person. I won't talk to her the same way, talk to him the same way, whatever the case may be. And you can look at it. You can show evidence, and people can give you documentations. You can document that with your mental health advisor, your counselor, your psychiatrist, psychologist, doctors, whoever the case may be, whoever is around you, to say, I've changed over the years. Can you help me help myself by helping me see my kids and let them see the person I am, just like me and my kid, D did this morning on our podcast earlier. That's a change that all of us can do and the courts can do for all of the fathers around the globe.
I agree with that strongly. I definitely want to double that. Brother Love, based on what the doctor's saying, do you feel, honestly, being that you're putting your story, of course, on this platform, do you feel yourself as a
Yeah,
changed man to take responsibility for your three children?
1000%.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what I love to hear. Again, the bigger importance of this, which I want to get out to the world, especially in your case, if there was no form of physical abuse, especially, and there was no threats in any form of this abuse, then that should give an ultimate leeway for that door to swing open and giving this man a chance of being a father. Now, again, we only gonna go off your words. If your ex-wife was here, I don't know what she'd say. I don't know if you know what she'd say.
The screen
Let me see,
froze,
can I
huh?
do this trick real quick? Did it
That's what
come
they
back?
say.
And we back after all the technical difficulties. Man, it's been a long roller coaster. We just really want to get to the end and summarize what my brother Love in this particular situation. And
Right.
it's long overdue. Now, in closure, as we had to go back to some lost archives to get back on track, DR.COMARK was giving us a revelation on the reality on even though you go through things, i.e., the parasites, it's still life at the end of the tunnel. DR.COMARK, you kind of was giving brother Love, a bit of correction when he was saying after that he forgives his ex-wife, he's no longer on that path anymore. And where the video cut the last time, again, you was giving that good ghetto gospel scriptures from the
Yeah,
anti
yeah.
network. You know how we love to do over here. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. And pretty much that's where we left at. So do you mind going back into that in detail for closure purposes when it comes to the last part of this segment?
Yeah, just to sum it up, man, I was trying to tell them that, everybody has parasites. We're all infected by the things that we do. Um, we all have, I always say that we have our own will, free mind, free will, but we have to understand that everybody is an infection. Everybody has an infectious mind, because whether we put drugs into our heads, whether we are influenced by social media, influenced by our peers, influenced by people around us, TV, whatever the case may be, our own body, our own mind doesn't really have free will. We're all parasites, and our body is an infection. So you have to understand that the things that we do, we all have to change. We all have this willingness to move forward and move back at times. So you always have to forgive yourself. You always have to understand that you're going to change day by day, month by month, year by year. You're gonna fall in and out of love. You're gonna be a different parent every day, different child every day. Um, so always forgive yourself for the things that you did yesterday, tomorrow, day before. Forgive your even your children, your spouse, your ex-spouse, whatever the case may be. So don't always knock yourself. If you need to fight the system, if you need to fight the courts and ask them for forgiveness, do so by doing that. If you need to get help to do that, do that. So don't always say it's my fault. And if you do say it's my fault, forgive yourself for saying it's my fault and make that change.
That was deep right there. Brother Love, for any man who's facing a similar situation with custody issues overseas, Do you got any advice for them for things they can do better to prevent situations like yours?
Well, think twice before you step out the door. That's what I would say. Because if I didn't leave, if I didn't step out, of course the situation wouldn't be like it is now. So if I would have, thought about it, slept on it for a couple of days or something like that, yeah, just take your time, just have patience. Um, and also, if you do end up in that situation, also have patience too, and know that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, um, and it's going to be time. This thing. I mean, I hate to say it like this. Think of it as jail time. You know.
Hmm. That's a crazy way to look at it. I'm not gonna lie. The follow behind you guys, I always say when it comes to anything related to the comments, you know what I'm saying? If you need any type of assistance or help, never be afraid to reach out. It is very important. As they say in Spanish, es muy importante, mi amigos. Let's not forget self-help is the new wealth. So always look after yourself in the best intentions that you put forward. So to my brother, as an advice I will give, just like to anybody who in these situations, get up on your laws. Get up on understanding how culture works in different countries, because I think that's where it starts at. Yes, we are American. Over there in Japan, it seems like they run a different type of horse and pony show. However, I always believe everything's possible. Everything's possible. So, as we always do, just to wrap this up so we can go about our daily lives, so everybody on the move. Brother Comark, you know how we do, man. This was kind of short, but we're just gonna add a little sprinkle today, a little sprinkle spat. You know what I'm saying? Kick him some game, brother. What we got for him today?
Forgive yourself for anything that you do. Um, it's not always your fault. Um, fault goes both ways. Story goes both ways. Um, try to get up out of bed and keep pushing forward. Like we always say, if you need help, look in the comment section, reach out. We can always find resources for yourself. You can't if you don't want to reach out to us, reach out to somebody else. Hug somebody, love somebody, hold hands with somebody. We're in a world where there's a lot of resources out there. A lot of people want to be helped. If you don't want to help each other, help somebody, a dog, get a cat. There's always somebody out there that can help you.